Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I was hoping to be able to bring you some good news. We were hoping to continue teaching through Revelation chapter 1. But in that what America is doing right now to anger the bear, that's what I must talk about. So let's go back to one that I've read several times, but this is really important. April 1997, Dumitru Duduman, kneeling beside his bed, all of a sudden he opened his eyes and he was seeing a vision. He said, I saw a small bear who seemed to be half dead. Now that's perestroika and glasnost. I'm going to skip forward. I watched the bear become angrier and grow stronger until finally it pounded the ground with its paw. The earth would shudder. That's where the bear is, the Russian bear right now. The bear continued to devastate all that stood in its path, means that when people come against Russia, Russia is going to mow them down. Their military is the best military. Until it came upon some men with sticks trying to fend it off, that's NATO. By this time, the bear had grown so large it crushed the men underfoot and continued to rampage. And that's what's going to happen when Russia attacks America and NATO and the other nations comes against Russia. For a while, at least at the beginning of the battle, Russia's going to run all over them. What does this mean? The angel said, well, at first they thought the bear was dead. As it would begin to stir once more, they will consider it harmless. Suddenly, it will grow strong once more with purpose and violence, and God will blind the eyes of those that continue to trample on the sacrifice of Christ's blood. That's the Western nations that believe it or should be believing in Jesus, until the day the bear will strike swiftly. This day will catch them unprepared, and it will be just as you saw. Now, this is basically saying that the Russian bear is going to grow strong, grow angry, and to attack, and when it does, it's going to run over everything. Well, now, in case you didn't hear it, according to HalTurnerRadioShow.com, June 21, headline says, Russian Pacific Fleet now only 35 miles from Honolulu. U.S. lines up warning missiles in the Pacific. Now, I don't have to read the whole article. Essentially, the Russians have placed, and there's a long list of, I'm going to say, 15, 20 vehicles, military boats, okay, that are surrounding the whole nation of Hawaii. Why? Well, now let's go to the next article. June 23, 2021, also HalTurnerRadioShow.com, and when I start getting better information from other sources, I'll use those sources. Right now, this guy seems to be one of the best sources. Headline. While Russian Navy conducts missile drills off of Hawaii coast, now, hang on. What do you think that America should be doing? We ought to be cleaning up our act. We ought to possibly be preparing for war. Listen to this. Here's what we're doing. This is your JB administration doing this. While the Russian Navy conducts missile drills off of Hawaii coast, the U.S. military hosts a first-ever drag queen show, quote, essential to the morale and readiness. Yeah, that's right. So while Russia's Navy is conducting missile drills off the Hawaii coast, the military has decided the best way to train our troops was to host a drag queen show. Now, in case you're not familiar with what we're talking about men that dress up like women and then act like they're all, I don't know, how do I say, I don't know, horny. I don't know another way to nicely say it. So please forgive me. That's the best way I know to communicate what they're talking about. It was scheduled for Friday, June 17 at 5 p.m. and sponsored by the Nellis Top 3. The Top 3 at Nellis Air Force Base is a social and professional organization established to, quote, enhance the morale and spirit of the Corps. All enlisted personnel assigned to the wing and facilitate cooperation between members of the top 3 enlisted grades. And this top 3 will provide a forum for its members to meet. Okay. So the first thing that happens, Russia is surrounding Hawaii with, 15, 20 of these military attack vessels. And so the American Navy hosts a drag queen show. Do you see a problem with that? You remember the story of Ai. You remember the Israelites said, we don't have to send very many troops up to Ai because it's a small city. So they only sent, like, if I remember, it was like 3,000 or 3,500 of their men up there. Well, they ran from Ai. So Joshua was pretty upset because he was told and promised that no one would have to run from anyone, that they would be given into the hands every time, and they would be victorious every time. So Joshua goes in and throws himself on the floor in front of the Ark of the Covenant and said, "What's going on?" God said, "There's sin in the camp." What? Yeah, I'll show you. Well, he did show him. And a fellow by the name of Achan had stolen some gold from the last city that they had sacked and hid it in the floor of his tent. So what do? They brought Achan and his wife and all of his children and his animals and everything out and burned them all, destroyed them all. In other words, they had to get rid of sin in the camp. So while Russia is thinking about and preparing to attack America, what is America doing? Exactly the wrong thing. Now let's go to the next article. Again, HalTurnerRadioShow.com, June 24. Headline: It starts next week, June 28. Just one day after the British destroyer HMS Defender violated, that's right, a British destroyer on purpose violated what Russia considers to be the territorial waters of Russia. Now, the U.S. Sixth Fleet, in other words, the British goes over and violates the territorial waters. And in case you're not familiar with the story, the Russians fired several volleys of shots across the bow. But that didn't stop the Brits. They continued into territorial waters of what Russia considers to be their territorial waters, until finally they had to get a plane to drop a bomb in the path of the British vessel to get it to turn. All right, now, all of that's in another article, but we're going to skip that and go right to this article. The HMS Defender violated the territorial waters of Russia. In other words, from Russia's point of view, you're doing wrong. It's not us, okay? Now, from our point of view, we want to say yes, but Crimea was never officially part of Russia. It's actually supposed to be part of Ukraine. You see how God, it appears to me, has set America up in a no-win situation, because the Russians can see that they are right to attack, and we can see that we're right to be able to go into those waters. Again, it's a contested thing, exactly the kind of thing that would tell the Russians that they have all the correct reasoning to attack America. Okay, let's go on. So HMS Defender violated the territorial waters of Russia. The U.S. Sixth Fleet formally announced, here it is, participating in an upcoming held exercise, Sea Breeze 2021, co-hosted with the Ukrainian Navy, June 28. Now, essentially what they're saying is, oh yeah, you fire volleys of attacks, of shells across the Brits. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bring in the U.S. Sixth Fleet. This is not just one ship. This is a bunch of them. And we're going to have a naval exercise right off of your coast. Okay, this is kind of like the bully on the ground drawing with the tip of his toe a line in the sand and says, if you step over that, I'm going to hit you. And then the other bully says, oh yeah, well, I'm going to step over it. And so the other bully steps back and draws another line and says, well, I dare you to step across that. So, I mean, basically this is Russia and America daring each other to start a war. Now, why would they be doing it? Hang on, we'll go back to the article in a second. Why would they be doing that? Okay, well, we want to believe that DJT is in charge of our military. We want to believe that the good guy is in charge of the military. But it sounds just like the Moloch and Baal worshippers to attack our enemy. Then our enemy retaliates and destroys us. Did the Moloch and Baal worshippers, did the deep state, the Khazarian mafia, did they not say to Benjamin Fulford that we have ruled this planet for thousands of years and we're going to continue to rule it, or we'll destroy it? So how do you get America to be destroyed? You get America to seemingly do something to get the Russians to attack us. Now, hang on, we're going to continue reading this article. At least I think we are. So right now, the prophecies are telling us that there's about to be tanks rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue into Washington, D.C. Again, that's what the prophecies say. And, of course, Dumitru Duduman was told the fall of America would start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. The exact definition of an internal revolution is not riots in the cities, burning, looting, writing bad words on walls. It is the overthrow of the government by its people. So here we are. We're about to see the internal revolution, the overthrow of the American government by the people, according to the prophecies. All at the same time, we're seeing America making the Russian bear mad. I want to believe that we can pray this away, but everything seems to be marching toward the attack. It seems to be marching toward the fall of America. And I'm wanting to believe massive arrests will take place, and God will give us more time. But right now, what we look at is no. It's right now it's heading headlong toward the Russians attacking us. Let's go back to the article. So 32 ships. Are you listening to this? This is the U.S. 6th Fleet. Okay, so this was one British ship, goes into Russian waters that America considers to be Crimean waters, which is America considers to be controlled by Ukraine. And the Russians shoot a couple of shots across the bow and drop a bomb in the path of the ship. The ship finally decides to leave. Now, the big brother, America, the Eagle, decides it's going to fight the bear. So we've now sent 32 ships, 40 aircraft, 18 special operations, dive teams from NATO member countries scheduled to participate in this big, quote, exercise. You see a problem? Because I see a problem. Through covert intelligence sources, he goes on to say, he has detailed plans within this, quote, exercise, and he said it could lead to a kinetic war. What's a kinetic war? I only know of a war or a war. Okay, so it's bad. That's my point. In other words, they're talking about war between America and Russia. Right now, I mean, it says June 28. Kinetic war between the vessels involved in the Russian naval forces over the territorial waters around Crimea. British ship, the HMS Defender, deliberately entered the territorial waters around Crimea and was intercepted by naval forces from Russia. Russian forces radioed HMS Defender that she was violating the territorial waters of Russia and must alter course to leave such waters. Radio warnings went unanswered. The HMS Defender proceeded deeper into those territorial waters. Now, again, the way the Russians look at it is, you're sticking your finger in my eye. You are making me attack you. Or either that or I back down and I lose face. And right now, since the Russians probably know they have the best military in the world, they're not willing to back down. The Russian forces then fired warning shots to warn the HMS Defender to leave Russian territorial waters. When the first shots went ignored, Russia fired additional shots a few minutes later. The Russian Military of Defense has provided videos showing, and I've seen the video, continued on its course. The Defender continued on its course. Then a Russian aircraft dropped a bomb in the path of the HMS Defender, far enough ahead of the vessel to avoid damaging it, but close enough to get the point across, leave these waters. The HMS Defender then changed course and left the territorial waters. The hubbub is the British government regards those waters as belonging to Ukraine and its territory and does not accept Russia's claim that Crimea has rejoined Russia. To that, the Russian foreign minister said the following: "We can appeal to common sense, demand respect for international law, and if this does not help, we can bomb." What is he saying? He is just saying, we will attack you. Now, the Russians, they're not liars, okay? They've been telling a long time that they removed the laws that says we have to be attacked first. No, their laws now, the Russian laws now say, if they fear that they could be attacked, they can attack first. Not only on the way, but also on the target. We're making clear to you right now, a repeat of this type of incident could lead, listen carefully, to a full military conflict with Russia. I'll read it again. Could lead to a full military conflict with Russia. That's what the Russians are saying. Now, all the time we're talking about tanks possibly rolling into Washington, D.C., going to the Supreme Court, the Capitol, and the White House. the internal revolution starting while we're sticking our finger in the eye of the big, powerful bear, I see a problem. The exercise is taking place from June 28 to July 10 in the Black Sea region and will focus on multiple warfare areas, including amphibious warfare, land maneuver warfare, diving operations, maritime interdiction operations, air defense, special operations integration, anti-submarine warfare, and search and rescue missions. Now, Dumitru, in 1984, was told the fall of America would start with an internal revolution. Now I've got 4 different people that have prophesied that the internal revolution is about to start. All the while, the Russians have, 20 or 25 ships surrounding the state of Hawaii. And these guys, now the Americans, it's 32 ships, 40 aircraft, 18 special ops. In other words, they sent the whole 6th Fleet. It looks to me like all it takes is the drop of a hat, and all of a sudden, Russia's angry enough to hit us. But we know that Russia's not going to hit us from the front door. Russia's going to come in a sneak surprise attack. Now, here's a little bit of good news. You remember that January 22 of 06, Leslie heard the audible voice of God say, Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Still to this day, we don't know what Omer is. We just know that that's a newspaper headline. The other newspaper, and there's 7 headlines, and there's some good news here. Good news? Yeah, as good as it gets anyway. 2, catastrophe hits America. By the way, this is not necessarily the order they will happen. 3, this is the order I think they'll happen. One of America's greatest times of need. Israel refuses help to America. Israel has attacked America, sends troops. Chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. Then she heard my voice quoting Dumitru Duduman, it will start with an internal revolution. Now, the point is here, apparently Israel is attacked, and that's what starts the war. And then once Israel attacks, we send our troops to help. Then Russia goes with a full all-out attack, and it starts with 2 from satellite, and then 1 launched from probably a submarine. And they send nuclear weapons up into the atmosphere, and they hit us with an EMP pulse, an electromagnetic pulse. And, of course, that fries all of the computer chips that are obviously not protected against EMP pulse. And I guess now would be a good time for me to say we suggest that you might want to go to empshield.com, enter the promo code PROPHECY, and if you would like to see your cars continue to start, if you'd like to see the computer chips in your home not be fried, then they have some devices that will help you to do that. All right, so back to the point here. 5,000 troops, 32 ships, 40 aircraft, 18 special operations surrounding, basically just off the coast of Russia. So right now, and this starts June 28th, right now we are on the precipice of what could be World War III. Now, my point in reading the newspaper headlines from Leslie is I don't think this is it. I think that this is the things that are angering the bear. In other words, I don't think the bear is about to attack, but I do think that this is going to anger the bear. It's one, I mean, look, when all of the news media in America continued to embarrass Russia by saying Russia, 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 and now they've accused Russia of not doing anything about shutting down the pipeline. Remember the people that went in and shut down the pipeline through cyber attacks and then through the meat processing. And so America's continuing, actually the deep state inside of America, the communists inside of America are continuing to attack the Russians and make the Russians angry. And now it's actually got to where we are moving military equipment into place. Military equipment is surrounding Hawaii, and consequently, we're sending the 6th Fleet, 32 ships, 40 aircraft, 18 special operations dive teams. What? And we're sending them just off the coast of Russia? Do you see a problem with that? Because I do. I think that we are sticking our finger in the eye of the Russian bear, and the Russian bear is very powerful. It has probably more money and definitely a better military. I mean, you see, the average American, you know what they want to do? They want to party. They want to have a good time. They want to make a lot of money. They want to have a nice house, a nice car, blah, 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 blah. What do the Russians want to do? Kill Americans. I mean, like Stanislav Luna, when I had lunch with him back in 1994 or something like that, when he made that DVD for us. Stani, you don't understand. Everything in Russia is designed the way they raise us in school. It's designed to attack and defeat America. The goal of Russia is to destroy America. You know, there's a pretty good rule when it comes to combat, and that is when your enemy says that they're going to do something, perhaps you should believe them. And in this case, perhaps we should believe Russia. Russia's objective is to destroy America. Why would Russia have all of the missiles that can change course, that can speed up, that can slow down? Why would they come out and openly say no one on the planet can stop these nuclear missiles in flight? No one. Why would they say that? Are they afraid of NATO? No. Why would they even build them? Because their objective is to destroy America. So here we are making the bear angry. We're making the bear so angry, they're spitting angry. Which is why I think it's crucial that we get into another Solemn September Assembly. Solemn September Assembly. Why? Probably by September 6 to 8, which is on the Feast of Trumpets. Probably by then, well, at least Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, he's reported as saying, I saw him actually say, he said that DJT, the correct word, he said the word, will be back in power by August. Okay, if that's true, and we're having this meeting in September, what do you think is going to be going on in our nation? I think our nation is going to be in the process of falling. And if it's going to survive, it's only going to survive because of the massive arrests coupled with our prayers. We must. Yeah, but Stan, it's a lot of trouble. It's a lot of time and expense for me to go all the way to Plano, Texas for a meeting. Okay, fine. We can just stay home and just forget about it, put our head in the sand. When the Russians destroys our nation, then we'll say, boy, I wish I'd have gone and prayed. Or we could say, look, I understand that wherever two are more gathered in his name, there he is in the midst of them. In other words, gathering together is a more powerful prayer. Fasting makes our prayers even more powerful. And then, with a group of people gathering together, fasting for 48 straight hours, committed to see that prayer microphone does not fall to the ground for 48 hours, and then we are up there rotating every 5 minutes, praying for our nation, gathering under one name, Jesus, to do one thing, pray for just one thing, America. That's powerful, and that may be the thing that can possibly give America some more time. If not, I mean, let's look at what's happening. If we just look at what's happening, we would have to say, okay, we can see the Russians attacking in a surprise nuclear attack just pretty fast. Okay, so we can see some kind of catastrophe in America. I mean, we just had a catastrophe, a whole building fall. Okay, 150 people they can't find. Whoa. Well, we call that a catastrophe. You wait. You wait until the Mississippi River changes directions. You wait until there's a big gulf between the east side and the west side of America, and there's a big divide goes up the middle of America. I mean, a catastrophe on that order. A catastrophe is America. America is down on her knees, not praying, of course, but I mean, she's falling apart. Let me go back through this. This is the way I see it. I see Omar ushers in Palestinian state, and America splits Israel. So consequently, God has already said, if you split my nation, I'm going to split yours. So probably the next day or two, then a giant catastrophe will hit America in the form of an earthquake. Consequently, America then cries for all the world to help. Next headline is one of America's greatest times of need. And her good friend Israel refuses to help. Israel refuses to help America. Then the other nations say, hey, America's hurting. America's falling apart. America got hit with this big catastrophe, whatever it is. Hey, let's go attack Israel. So they go attack Israel. America says, hey, you can't do that. So America sends troops, and Russia says, let's attack. All of a sudden, the Russians attack, surprise nuclear attack. First, they hit us with EMP to knock out all of our electronics. They blind us, and then they take us out. She saith in her heart, I said, a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall our plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. My heart is to do everything I possibly can to soften or to delay. I'd love to think we can pray it away, but again, the angel I just read it to you, just said, but the judgment has been set, or the sentence has been passed, is the way it worded it. So it's coming. But we must try, and that's the reason I'm calling you. I'm calling you to come to the Solemn September Assembly. You get there by reserving your place at watchmanstrumpet.com. We're asking you to fast. Yes, you can still have juice and water and coffee and things like that, but we ask you to fast. Still take your medicines, whatever. Fast for 48 hours. Come here and let's pray for our nation in the name of Jesus. watchmanstrumpet.com. watchmanstrumpet.com. When a nuclear device goes off, it produces an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, and it fries every computer chip unless they're protected. The good news is EMPshield.com has devices a military testing facility says are 100% accurate to protect against EMP, solar flares, lightning, power surges, backed by a 10-year warranty and a $25,000 insurance policy. And they come with simple installation instructions for home, vehicles, RV, and electric generators. You can have electricity in a blackout. EMPshield.com. Use the promo code PROPHECY for a $50 gift card. This helps Prophecy Club. That's EMPshield.com. Promo code PROPHECY for a $50 gift card. EMPshield.com. EMPshield.com. The worst thing is to find yourself in an emergency and you do not have the food. But the second worst thing is to open the food you bought and your family won't eat it because it is garbage. That's the reason so many people get heavensharvest.com food, because it's really good food, edible food in an emergency. It may be 10, 15, 20 years down the road. All of a sudden, you do need it. You can open it and your family is going to eat it. heavensharvest.com. Put in the promo code STAN. It helps your Prophecy Club. heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN. In 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation. I was shown a secret door linking the feasts to the prophecies of Revelation. For the first time, the book of Revelation can be put in correct chronological order. You can understand Bible prophecy. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 5. 1 for 20, but don't do that. 5 for 35 or 10 for 60. What is the most important information to every beating heart on the globe? After accept Jesus, it would be don't take the mark of the beast. Those taking the mark of the beast do not get soul death, but are tormented in the lake of fire and brimstone for eternity. How do you tell them? Give them miss the mark. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 10. 1 for 20, 10 for 30, and 20 for 50 at prophecyclub.com. Over the past 32 years, I've collected the best 101 prophecies from Dumitru Duduman, Michael Boldea, Leslie Johnson, Henry Gruber, Shane Warren, Terry Bennett, Marie Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, and more. It's called God's Warnings for America. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 5. 1 for 20, but don't do that. 5 for 35 or 10 for 60. My new book is called Tribulation, Secrets in Daniel because that's what it does. It shows you the part of Daniel you need to know, being you're about to be a tribulation saint and will desperately need to know and understand about the last days you live in. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 10. 1 for 20, 10 for 30, and 20 for 50 at prophecyclub.com. In How Pre-Trib 1, I expose the dirty little secrets pastors don't want you to know, which is why sometimes they can't preach the truth, especially about the rapture. Then, using the secret door, I explain the truth about the rapture, and then I rebut 25 claims pre-tribbers use to prove pre-trib. You'll finally know the truth about the rapture. We offer it in shrink-wrap sets of 10. 1 for 20, but don't do that. 10 for 30, 20 for 50 at prophecyclub.com. That's prophecyclub.com. Everyone is in a panic. No one is taking credit cards or dollar bills anymore, but they are taking silver coins. Call cornerstoneassetmetals.com, mention Prophecy Club.